As always, we will begin with 3 deep breaths. So we'll take a deep breath in through the nose, softly out of the mouth. Another one in through the nose, out of the mouth. Last one in and out. Today's topic is going to be journaling for the new year. And I want to be so crystal clear when I say this, that the new year can be any given point in time. So the new year, as we grow up knowing, right, is the calendar new year. So when you're listening to this, it is now 2025. And so a lot of people will use January as a time for a fresh start. But I have seen the rise, and I do love to see it, especially that I teach earth wisdom and cyclical wisdom. I have seen the rise of the social media divine feminine people being like, our new year is actually in the spring because that is when the life comes back to the earth and blah, blah, blah. Now that's specific to the northern hemisphere. I currently live in the southern hemisphere, so it's actually summer for us right now, and we'll be moving into fall at that time. But I do agree with that. I do think that there is beauty in starting your new year with the bloom. But also, if you learn, I actually have notes with me today, which is crazy. I never have notes, but I really wanted to make this an intentional journaling session with you guys. So, but when we look at a new year, you've got the Chinese New Year, you have Jewish New Year. If you actually work with the wheel of the year and that type of like Celtic wisdom, the new year was for Samhain, which is Halloween. And I know people think that that's interesting. They're like, oh, that doesn't really make sense. Like that's fall. Well, if you do know anything about the wheel of the year, that is the final and third harvest festival of the wheel. And technically, that begins the descent into the dark of the wheel. And within paganism, death is not seen as an end. Death is actually seen as a transformation. It's seen as renewal. It's seen as rebirth. So because of that, that's when the witches' new year is. So I want this episode for you, whether you are listening to this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever platform you're using, this is going to be something that you can come back to anytime you really just want a fresh start. So it doesn't need to coincide with anything earth wisdom wise. It doesn't need to coincide with anything astrologically. It can simply just be that you are fed up with yourself at some point and you're like, fuck it, today is July 17th and this is my new year and I'm having a fresh start. So I want you to be able to come back to this. I'm interested to know if you guys can hear the storm that is brewing outside. I hope you can, because it's really nice to listen to. It is also rainy season where I live, so you might hear it very much so. So I am going to give you journal prompts. And so that's what this whole entire episode is going to be. You can be whoever you want to be whenever you want to be that person. You can change the course of your life whenever you want to. You can take the next steps to have gratitude for who you have been and gratitude for who you will become at literally any given point in time. So the rest of this podcast episode and the rest of this podcast experience is going to be me giving you journal prompts. So you can meditate on this. Like when I say these questions, I'm going to give you time to sit with it. Just a few moments, and you can either use your journal prompts, you can use your journal, or you can just meditate on all of them. That's totally and completely okay. So just try to have a bit of an intentional space if you can. Let's take another deep breath. And breathe out. And so creating an intentional space for yourself. Sorry, I was getting the timer ready. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching me do all this. Creating an intentional space for yourself can literally, it could be all the motherfucking bells and whistles. You could have candles going, incense, flowers. You can be at your altar. But creating an intentional space can also just be you quieting the noise around you. Your house might be loud. Where you live, it's very loud where I live, which is crazy because I live in the mountains and I moved out here for silence and solitude, but sometimes it gets crazy on this road. And so quieting the noise around you. And maybe quieting isn't the right word, but just intentionally understanding that you don't have to take part in it. Right now is for you. But I also want to give you the option that you can do a few of these journal prompts and then you can come back and do them later. If your intention and attention is not fully on what you're doing when it comes to spiritual practices, if you're new here, I say this all the time. Your intention and your attention is more important than the practices that you do. I would rather you have your intention and attention for a 5-minute practice than be like, I did this 3-hour-long thing, but your mind was wandering in and out the whole time. So with that being said, have your sacred space. Take a deep breath. Question 1 is going to be, what are the most valuable lessons that I have learned recently? And nothing is too big or too small here. Okay, take a deep breath and breathe out. So I'm giving 1-minute intervals for you to sit with these questions. You might need more time. You can pause it and then press play. You might not need a whole minute. If not, that's totally okay. You can sit in the silence. I love teaching classes and making people sit in silence because I have gone to so many gatherings where, right, like we'll do journal prompts and then there's music thrown on, which, like, I love music, don't get me wrong, but sometimes the medicine music or the spiritual music, like, it'll take me back to a place and I'll really feel my energy move towards that. And we want your intention and attention to be in the moment. Also, people get uncomfortable in silence, and I think it's so important to kind of move ourselves forward into uncomfortability because that is where we have the most growth. And so the next question, again, I'm going to start the timer, is what am I most grateful for from the chapter that I am closing? Okay, take a deep breath. Let that go. The next question is going to be, what am I ready to release that is no longer serving me, my highest good, the highest good of those around me, and the world around me. Again, nothing is too big or too small, you know? If it's something, I did this whole practice with a one-on-one client that I have. We've been doing it through Voxer messages. And they wanted to say that one of the things they wanted to release was not focusing on eating, like they're scrolling while they eat. And they're like, oh, but that's like not a big thing. I'm like, yeah, but that adds up. When we think of these little things, that shit adds up. Now, take another deep breath. This next question, if you're already meditating and just answering these questions in your mind's eye, keep going with it. If you are journaling them, you might need to close your eyes for a moment for this question. But the next question is, how do I want to feel moving forward? How do I want to feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as I move into this next chapter of my life? Take a deep breath. The next question is, what are my deepest dreams and desires for this next chapter? And some of these might sound a little bit redundant, but really continuing to write down the things that we desire over and over again, or think about them or feel them within our body, is a beautiful way for manifestation, but also just for a way somatically to let our bodies get comfortable with this idea of the new us. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. The next prompt is, who do I desire to become in life for this next season? And that can be a really difficult and heavy question to answer, but I want you to be as whimsical with it as possible. Add in so many things that you don't even think you could become with this next version of you, right? Like all different types of, you know, maybe you want to learn a language, but it seems so outside of your scope. Like, think about that. Like, who do you want to become? A person that would learn a language is probably someone that is dedicated to studying, that is curious, right? So like, think about it like that. Like, I want to become a curious person. I want to become a spontaneous person. I couldn't think of the word. Beautiful. Take another deep breath in and let it go. The next question is, what is one word, phrase, or affirmation that encapsulates my vision? I fucking love this one because I love hearing people's responses to it. Like, you might hear the word right away, or you might have to take some deep breaths and just, what is that one word, phrase, or affirmation? Just feel it rise up within your body and your mind's eye. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in. Let that go. The next question is going to be, what habits or routine can help me embody this person? Right? So you're thinking about this person, you're writing about this person, you're dreaming about this person. What habit, routine, or daily life structure would this person have? And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing me like look out my window and I'm just really pondering these questions, right? So if you're writing down all your answers right now, you can do this at another time and just think on them, or vice versa. There's no right or wrong way to necessarily sit with these questions in the way that I am presenting them to you. You might hear the rain coming down my chimney. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. The next question is, what past challenges have I overcome that prove my resilience? Every version of you has led you to this point in time, to being this person that you are, to being able to overcome the obstacles that spirit and the universe puts in front of your face. Deep breath in. Breathe out. This next step is going to be, how can I cultivate gratitude as a practice during this new chapter? Because when we want to call new things into our life, gratitude is key. The universe and energy watches us and witnesses us. And if we cannot be grateful for all of the things, whether they are big or small, in the moment that we have in front of us, something as simple as, if you've taken classes with me before, you've heard me say this, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyeballs, 2 ears. If we can't be grateful for these things, how do we expect the universe to keep guiding and co-creating with us these bigger things that we desire if we're not grateful for what we've been given as a gift? Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. And the final prompt that I'm going to give you guys today, of course, if you've ever been with me, I always over prepare and I want to give so much, but usually less is more. So the last and final question that we're going to sit with right now is, how can I celebrate the small wins and milestones along the way? When I work with people in a one-on-one container, I am constantly asking them, especially when we meet for our Zoom meetings, what would you like to celebrate today? What's one thing that we can celebrate since the last time I've talked to you or the last time I've seen you? And again, nothing is too big or too small. I have had people celebrate the amount of money that they were able to make in their business. I've had people celebrate their manifestations coming to life, but I've also had people celebrate their ability to just get out of bed, brush their teeth, drink a little bit of water, and either come to my house for a session or hop on a Zoom call with me. So again, nothing is too big or small. So how are you going to celebrate your small wins and milestones along the way? Take a deep breath in, breathe out. If your eyes are open, see if you can either close them or bring a nice soft gaze to them for a moment. If it feels good, you can put your right hand on your low belly and your left hand on your heart space. And just feel your body right now. Feel this moment. Feel all of the things that you've either thought or put on your paper. And I'm going to say this affirmation once so you can hear it. And then 3 times I'm going to say it for you to either speak it out loud to yourself or just swallow it into your being. I trust the unfolding of this new chapter. Deep breath in. I trust the unfolding of this new chapter. Breathe in. I trust the unfolding of this new chapter. Last time in. I trust the unfolding of this new chapter. And you can come back to the space as it feels fit. You can give yourself a nice big hug and keep your eyes closed. You can let your hands come down. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much for being here. I love recording these Wolf Mother podcast episodes. I would love some feedback on if you guys enjoyed this journaling meditation that we just did, because I can record all different types of these, especially since I do them a lot with my one-to-ones through Voxer. I think this could be a really good way that maybe if it's not accessible for people to work in a one-on-one container or join group classes, if you can listen to this in your own time and do them, I think that's beautiful. So give me feedback, whether you are on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, and I am sending many blessings to you and to yours whenever it is that you decide you need a beautiful, fresh start, and I will talk with you soon.